Hi, I'm Daz. I'm the producer of The Drift, and I just wanted to have a little chat about the team, about what's happening now with the crew and how things are changing and have changed for the next sort of phase, and how we're leading into principal photography. One of the things I pushed out recently to the guys that are already involved is an email which sort of details all the sort of the roles and responsibilities that are needed to fulfil the filmmaking process during principal photography. And I suppose in some ways it can be a bit overwhelming for some who haven't been involved in filmmaking on a large scale before, because there's quite a lot of roles. And one of the things I've always said is that even if you're a film crew of 3 people, all the different functions that that you see at the end of on the credits at the end of a movie, the list that goes on for for minutes and minutes and minutes, all those functions are still fulfilled, even if it's just a very small crew. So to produce a list of perhaps 20 different functions can be a bit daunting. So what I do is sort of explain a bit about why that is, why we need those, and secondly how it would work within Backyard Productions, how it works in the past, and why we're perhaps bringing this to the fore so early in the production. Because normally this is something that we would probably sort of talk about perhaps a week before or even on the day, and that has its own problems. So perhaps talk about why we're doing it is perhaps the first thing I should do. And that is, we had a great example in one of our previous productions, Cinders, where we had about 25 people on set, which is really good. Loads of crew. Everyone was really keen. It was down at Pinewood Studios, which is really great for all the guys. And we were there for a couple of days filming on location, which was really nice, out in the gardens and stuff. But the problem we had was that we had all these people, 25 people there, loads of stuff that needed to be done. And although I had lots of people, most of them were stood around doing nothing. And it wasn't because they couldn't be bothered. It wasn't because they were lazy. It wasn't because they didn't want to do anything. It was because simply they didn't know what to do, or they didn't feel confident in applying themselves to a particular area. So we had the situation where I sort of went to the tent and said, look, guys, you've got to give us a hand. They said, well, okay, Daz, we'll give you a hand, but what do you want us to do? And I thought, right, okay, there we go. So there's a lesson there. So the idea now is to sort of introduce those roles now, before we film, and get people having a go with the cameras, trying out different things when there's no pressure. And then when it comes to filming, obviously there is a pressure, but the pressure will be to get the shot right, rather than I don't know how to use the camera, I don't know how to use the sound equipment, or I don't know what my function is today. When Dad says I'm a runner, what does that mean? So that's sort of why. Okay, and then the breakdown of every function has to be fulfilled is also true, because even if the costume is, you've got one actor with one costume, you still have to think about costumes. You still have to think about what they're going to wear. You can't just say turns up in normal clothes, because what one person's normal clothes is not someone else's, and it depends what the character is like and what sort of they would consider to be normal clothes, etc. So and even things like sound. Well, we're going to get the sound from the camera. Okay, well, okay, you still thought about it, or you still had to take that into account, because if you didn't, there'd be no sound. So even if it's a very quick job, it's still being done. Now in a larger production, that's a bit different, because obviously there are more actors, there are more sets, more cameras, and more kit. So you can start to divide the tasks up, which is what I've tried to do. And to help the guys and girls, what I will be doing is producing some little videos about how to use some of the gear, how to use some of the kit. And the aim of that is for them to watch those before they come on set, and then they'll still get trained and shown and have a go on set, but it just gives them some idea of what to expect before they get thrown into the deep end. Because even if there's no pressure from my point of view, there'll be pressure from their point of view, and I appreciate that. So the idea is to watch these videos, get sort of familiar with it, and then come on set and even say, well, I'm actually having a go at doing that. So. And the other thing that's important for the guys and girls to sort of understand is that the filming principal photography itself is about 2 weeks long, and it's not reasonable to expect everybody in the production to spend the whole time on set all that time. It's a hobby, it's a big hobby, and it's a hard hobby, but at the same time people have a life as well. So again, the idea is for people to share the role. So I might have, say, 3 set managers. And the reason for that would be is that across that 2-week period, then I might have one set manager at any one time. They all three need to be trained up, and they all need to talk to each other before we start filming. But the point being is that I've got three rather than just the one, and again the pressure is reduced. So again, the roles can be shared. We don't expect one person to be doing the whole thing all the way through, except me. I will be there, but that's okay because hey, I thought of it, so I should be there really doing it all. So that's fine. I say doing it all, being there the whole time. So the idea of sharing the roles as well, so from anything from costumes to makeup, and that's the other thing, is getting the guys to train other people. So now with that email and with that sort of refocusing that we're in, is that people need to start, the crew need to read the synopsis, understand the story, why we're doing what we're doing, start using the gear, get on set, start moving the set pieces around, getting the costumes on the actors, and really start rehearsing and doing what almost like making the movie before we make the movie, so that we can iron out all those issues. And that's the aim of that email, is to sort of start to iron out all those things. So it's good, and I've had quite some interesting emails back. One from Dan, who said he's looking forward to taking his drift exam. Learning the whole story. He's waiting for his test. So I might have that. Perhaps we could do a drift quiz, something like that. Perhaps. Obviously, we'd have to do it on set because they wouldn't want to give anything away until the film's released. So that might be interesting. But yeah, that's the idea. So just a quick sort of diary, just to sort of say, the aim is not to overwhelm all the cast and crew, but I think it is important that the cast and crew are aware, and it's better to be aware now of how many different roles that need to be undertaken during a production, during the filming, and to get all that ironed out and done in advance while we have the time. Because during filming itself, during principal photography, whilst of course there's 2 weeks of time, that time is about making the film. It's not really a good time to start learning how to use a camera, or teaching someone how to use the follow focus, or the principles of makeup and stuff like that. That needs to be done before. And it's also not reasonable to expect people to devote their entire time, the entire 2 weeks to it either. So again, sharing the roles too. So hopefully, that's the aim of the next sort of phase now, leading up till sort of mid-February when we have the final sort of set dressing, is to get everyone starting to play with the gear, and we'll probably do that quite soon. Start playing with all the kit, which should be fun. And then there's the script stuff as well. Now I need to start working on as well, because Sue's done the script. I better read it. I'm sure it's very good. I have read most of it, but I need to look at it properly, quiet time and all that kind of thing, and take that forward too. So yeah, it's good. Yeah, things are moving quite quickly. It seems that we had this sort of big break over Christmas, and suddenly it's a bit like a sort of tidal wave of just stuff just sort of flown in from everywhere, from all the people, with what things they want to do, and they want to get crack on with it. So that's really good. And with 7 weeks to go, not long before we finish the filming and stuff. So that's good. That's good. There you go. So a good start to 2012.